Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, I've got the Yamaha CT-3 up on the rack here, and before I tear that apart and put the new main bearings in, I just want to kind of show you what we're dealing with. And I don't really know. I think this is loose, but you can hear it more than you can see it. And I think it's the roughness in the bearings more, but there is quite a bit of play in it. And I just want to go through that and show you what the problem is, and I'll start it up, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear it. I really don't know whether you will be able to or not, but that's what we're gonna attempt and see if the microphone will pick it up. So let me get you around here. Okay, let's see if I can get you up here a little bit closer. I've got this set up on the flywheel here. And I'm just going to try to show you what kind of play I've got. If I pull all the way down, and then push all the way up, so we're, I think, about 6/1000ths. And I'm not sure that I've ever done this, so I don't know what it should be, but to me, I can really hear it. And if you remember right, when we put the new top end on, we bored this thing, and we put the new seals in, as you should. But it was even noisy when we started it up, and it just really shouldn't be quite that noisy. I'm going to go ahead and start it up and see if the mic will pick it up the way my ears are picking it up, and to see whether or not you folks are able to hear it also. And that'll give you, if you can, then it'll give you an indication of what a bad main bearing sounds like, in case you ever run into it. Let me get her running. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We were really trying to kind of do this on the cheap, and the only thing we lose here is a couple of seals and a gasket, base gasket. But there's no reason putting new tires and going through and doing what we did without making sure that it's going to last a while. See, one of the things that tells me that we have a problem is that when you try to let it idle, it won't. See, the roughness, it's like it misses one once in a while, and I think that's from the up and down movement that we're seeing here. See, I can push down on that and it will, evidently it's opening enough on the points that it is too much. Let me fire it up and see if I can get it going again. Just by pushing down, see, I don't do that at home. I just about got my fingers in it. But when I push down on this, it will just kill it. And I think it's because I'm really feeling more there now than I did. Let's hook the dial indicator back up now that it's run a little bit and see what we come up with. Okay, let's take another look at this. See, now it's looser. You can hear it, or at least I can. So I'm getting about 8 thousandths. I think, let me set the microphone a little closer. There's nothing here for the magnet to stick to. There. Hopefully you can hear that. Anyway, I think that's what I'm hearing. I'm not sure whether the microphone's going to pick it up or not, but you can see, and I think you can hear when it's static like that. That's way too much. And I think by pushing down on that, I move the point lobe enough that it's too much to keep it running, so it just kills it. But like I said, don't try that at home. You know, if I'd slipped and got my finger in there, I'd have been a mess. So that's why we're tearing it down. I just wasn't happy with what it sounded like when we got done with it, and I think it'll run real good. It starts, it sounds very responsive. I've drove it down the road several times, but it's just, this is not going to last. Those bearings are going to go out, and all the money that he's already put into it is just going to be thrown out the window. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to jerk this thing out and go ahead and put those main bearings in. Okay guys, like I say, I don't think I've ever done this before where I measured it. Usually it's just a noise, it's a sound that is unequal to anything else. You know, if you've got a rod knocking, you can tell that is what the problem is. If you've got piston slap, you can tell that is usually the problem. It's either one, the crank, or the rod or the piston. But usually you can tell by giving it gas whether or not it's a rod or piston slap. And this here, when we put the seal in, I moved this up and down, the flywheel and the crankshaft, and I knew then that it was going to need them. But like I said, we were trying to get by on the cheap with this. He's still got a lot of money in it. And, to stop now, this thing, the way it's going right now, it could lunch those bearings, in the next 5 minutes. and that would probably destroy a lot of other stuff. So to be preemptive about it, we need to go ahead and take it apart and put those bearings in. You know, I know he doesn't want to do it, but you've already got an investment, and you're not going to go, for what we put into this already, you're not going to go to a motorcycle shop or even buy one from somebody else for the price that he's got in it and get anything better. And it's just, you've got to make up your mind about this stuff. And you know, another thing is you're not going to have a classic motorcycle. And this one's in really good shape, and I think that this is all it's going to need. Famous last words, probably. But anyhow, when I push down on this when that's running, I think that it's the points, but it could also be I push down hard enough and it gets the seal just takes a big gasp of air and kills it. I'm not real sure. It has to be one or the other, and that's all I can think of, is that we're either opening or closing the points too far, or it's getting a big gasp of air and it doesn't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this engine out. I'm not going to show all that. I'm just going to go ahead and post this diagnosis video, and hopefully it'll help somebody that's running into the same issue. And once I get this up on the bench and start tearing it apart, then I'll do another video on it. But I think everybody knows how to take them in and out of the frame. And these aren't real hard. You know, I'll probably have it out of there in about 15 minutes. But anyhow, it's an interesting little bit of information. If you've ever heard it before, you can spot it a mile away. And I think that you're going to be able to hear this in the video, not only just the static up and down, but I think you're going to be able to hear it, that whir, that whirring roughness in that bearing. Anyhow, hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.